Welcome, Vault Dwellers. My name is Nacho Bidness, and this is episode 31 of my Fallout 4 No Loot Challenge Run. Rules are fairly simple. Here on Xbox, I am not allowed to use the A button to take anything out of the world or out of a container and put it into my inventory. Notable exception is crops from my own settlements. After all, I needed something to eat. We're playing on survival mode. We also needed something to barter with to get the junk and bullets and everything else that is necessary in order to play the game. I'm going to bring up my Pip-Boy here because I need to stop time for a moment. We've got some real-world talk and we've got some in-game talk to cover. So, real-world. Turns out the Startfield is coming out sooner than I had expected. It is coming out September 6th, and although that's great news, and I'm very much looking forward to it, it means that I need to get a move on and get this run completed. Now, I do record some time in advance. It's currently July 16th as I speak to you now, but this episode won't come out until late August or early September because I have several episodes already in the can. And what that means is that I want to be done playing Fallout 4 before Startfield comes out, and that should not be a problem. However, I also expect that my already paltry viewership is going to completely dry up once Startfield is out. After all, who wants to watch Fallout 4 when Startfield beckons? So, we are going to try and move things along as quickly as we can. I had intended to attempt every quest that is available before you go collect Nick Valentine, because at that point, either during that quest or shortly after, we're going to be forced to break the rules. Now, I have said that I will hold my nose and loot something if I absolutely cannot find any other workaround, but we are going to do our very level best to get around any of those instances, but I am fairly sure that it's going to happen. So when it does, I will pop up this counter on the screen and show you the number of times that I have broken the rules during this run, and whether it was me that broke the rules or whether it was my companion that broke the rules for me. We stand at 1-1 right now because I had to loot the Pip-Boy just to get out of the vault, and so the run was broken maybe 15 or 20 minutes into the first episode. But we pushed on, and we came to a later point where I allowed a companion, I think it was Hancock, to pick something up for me in Pickman's Gallery. And I was just kind of so surprised that it actually worked that I went with it. And on later reflection, I felt like I shouldn't have done that. Unfortunately, I had passed the point where I could load a prior save game and Fallout survival mode. You only get 3 saves. Now, I don't know if that is because those are the rules of survival mode, or if that is just because memory is shy on my Xbox. Regardless, there are some quests that we're not going to try. We're not going to try, for example, pretty much the entire... Actually, we did try the start of the Cabot House quest, but that remains completely uncompleted, if that makes sense. Totally uncompleted. How that sounds a little better. Kid in a Fridge, or Here There Be Monsters with the Chinese submarine captain. We're just not going to take the time to do those. Again, because we want to try and finish the run. Same goes for DLC. We're just not going to do any of the DLC except a very little bit of Automatron that I have done to get the robot workbench unlocked. Now, the other thing that we have to cover here is just, this has been a long time coming, and I want to make a note here about how long it takes to play the game when you do it this way. I have been at this run for a total of 9 days and 9 hours so far. That is 225 hours, or about 5.5 weeks of a full-time job at 40 hours a week. That is a long time. So I hope that you guys will appreciate the amount of time and effort that has gone into this. But I will call it a labor of love. I have enjoyed the time that I have spent. It has been about 6 months in real world. Now that leads us to our in-game talk half of this intro. And I'm sorry I'm running on so long, but we'll get to actually doing some gameplay here in just a few moments. It's just, again, this is such a landmark moment that I did want to take a few minutes to celebrate. So for Mary, it is July 4th of 2288, which means that she emerged at the end of October in 2287, and so there was 2 months in 2287 and an additional 7 in 2288. She's been out of the vault for 9 months and has taken very few steps to go after Sean. So what is our in-game rationale for that? And to me, it is simply that Mary is a very compassionate person. She was also very damaged when she came out of the vault. If you recall, Mary and Nate's relationship in my little headcanon for this character was not a happy marriage. And she was the victim of a violently, physically abusive husband. In hindsight, I probably would not have gone there. It has offended some folks, but I hope that I have managed to treat the subject with at least a certain amount of dignity and sensitivity. It was never intended as a joke or lighthearted. I think all too often Fallout is treated like some kind of funhouse or playland, and the reality is that the post-apocalyptic world after a nuclear war would be a hellscape and horrible and not a great place. Regardless, I think that those starting conditions for Mary have led her into a trap that happens for a lot of people who are very compassionate, in that they will put the needs of others above themselves. And every time she turns around, someone else is asking her to go retrieve some locket that their dead daughter was stolen from a dead daughter, or go help some settlement. Oh, so many settlements. And the trap that Mary has fallen into is that she has done those things because they seemed so immediate, while Sean has become a more and more distant memory. And here again in my little headcanon, if you look on the screen here, it is July 4th. And that was happenstance, but we'll call it a happy accident, because it feels like today is a day that Mary is going to declare her own independence. She is saying, no more. I am not after helping other people. It is time for me to go get my son. And that, at least, is my little in-game explanation for why it has taken her so long. We do have some things going for us when it comes to our character here. I have another perk that I can take, and I explained before that really the only things left that I am very interested in are on the luck tree. I want to get better criticals, critical banker, and Grim Reaper sprint. We'll see if I get all of those before time runs out and the game ends. We have some great inventory. Over time, I have been able to buy some of the best weapons in the game for a character like Mary. She is a sneaky sniper, and so Overseer's Guardian makes for a great sniper rifle. And the Rockville Slugger and the pistol here that is from a Creation Club make for good backups, both as a sidearm and as a melee weapon as required. She also has a complete set of legendary combat armor purchased from various vendors around the Wasteland. We've got the Black Ops chest piece, which is strength and endurance, the right shin guard, movement speed, destroyer's helmet, charisma and intelligence, left leg, also a movement speed increase, and left arm guard, reduction in action point costs and VATS, which is great. We use VATS a lot. And the right arm guard reduces damage while standing and not moving. In VATS, you are standing and not moving when you are shooting. We've also got some sunglasses for a little bit of perception. And our vault suit is improved as it possibly can be. We've also got a backpack with some additional carry weight, and we also have got an endurance patch on it for just a little bit more sprint distance and 6 and 310. I always assumed it affected hit points, and it affects hit points a lot. We went from 310 to 420. So yeah, we have excellent armor. We have excellent weapons. We are pretty much loaded up with food and drinks and stim packs and Radix and Radaway. We've got some bobby pins, and the rest of the stuff is just things that are essentially weightless that I've just never set down because they could be used for decoration, and once I set them down, I can't pick them up again. We're loaded for bear when it comes to ammo, and so that means that it is time to go to war. And to that end, I have been holding time because I didn't want vendors to close. I think that it is time for Mary to get a haircut.
You look like someone who
I remember
Sure.
in Battlestar Galactica, the early 2000s reboot, there was a great scene between Admiral Adama and a female pilot that he talked about how he admired her and the way that every morning she got up and took her long hair and pulled it back tight and went to war. And I think that was just a really cool scene, and I feel like Mary's hair has probably grown somewhat, and so yeah, it's time for her to pull that hair back, pull it tight, and go to war. We're also going to make a couple of quick changes to her at the surgery chair. Very minor. We are not going to go to the level like we did with Mama Murphy.
Sounds good.
And what happened kind of towards the beginning of this run. Speaking of Mama Murphy, if you have ideas about things to do to Mama Murphy, I'm all ears. I'm kind of running out of ideas for ways to torture Mama Murphy. So perhaps it's time to let it go. Perhaps it's time for Mary to forgive. But for now, if you've got an idea that you want to see me try, let's go for it. Mary has been working out at a weight bench upstairs, gotten her an extra point of strength. So we're going to move up on the muscular side of things a little bit. She's not really any thinner. She's always going to be kind of a thick girl, although the way the bodies are in this game, that is a purely relative term. We're also going to put some face paint on. Mary is going to put on her war paint, and that is going to be some grease under her eyes just to take the glare off. And I always forget you have to use the X button to apply. Otherwise, no other changes. It is... Really?
Please sit. Nothing to be nervous about.
This menu, I tell you what. Okay, very good. Wasn't really going to matter because it's all kind of hidden under her sunglasses and helmet, but I don't know. I wanted to do something to kind of mark this and signify that Mary has decided that enough is enough. It's time to go after Sean. So we are actually fairly late in the day, and I want to make sure the detective agency is going to be open. So we're going to spend one last night in our settlement. I am curious if Smiling Larry might have a Gauss rifle, because if he does, we're going to check that out and see about maybe trying to improve that, see if it's any better than Overseer's Guardian. I kind of doubt it just because the action point cost and the long charging time on Gauss rifles, but they do an awful lot of damage. Not seeing anything here, and so I'm going to guess that Smiling Larry doesn't have one. So Mary is going to relax a little bit, and we will join you again in the morning and go over to Valentine's Detective Agency and get started. We're just about to go talk to Nick Valentine, but there is one other piece of equipment that I wanted to mention that we have available to us, and that is the big boy. We bought that and used it to take out the Mirelurk Queen at the castle, and I've been having a companion carried around for me ever since. If we ever need a kill everything in the room button, that is available to us. Let's go have a chat with not Nick Valentine, because we are of course going to find out that Nick Valentine is missing. Hello, Ellie.
His tie.
Something wrong?
Another stray coming in from the rain. Afraid you're too late. Office is closed.
I know you must be busy, but I won't take much.
The office might be closed, but this is super important.
You're right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude, but it's just... the detective... has gone missing.
Well, any idea where he went?
How I could find him?
He disappeared working a case. The Skinny Malone's gang had kidnapped a young woman, and he tracked them down to their hideout in Park Street Station. There's an old vault down there they use as a base. I told Nick he was walking into a trap, but he just smiled and walked out the door like he always does.
Who's Skinny Malone?
Skinny Malone character.
I don't know much about him, but he's from Good Neighbor, and that means he's in the well-pressed suits and machine gun school of thuggery.
Well, I know about Good Neighbor.
I'll find him.
So,
you have my word.
Thank you.
What about
Nick should
fighting
be easy
him?
to spot. He's always wearing that old hat and trench coat getup. Please, hurry.
Also, he's a prototype synth with, like, skin rotting off. There's also that. Anyway, let's go see if we can help Nick out. I'll join you when we get to the entrance to this vault. Here we are at Boston Common and the entrance to the Park Street Station. I've been to Boston Common in real life, and it is bigger overall than what we've got in game, but there is a subway entrance at more or less this location, and it looks more or less this way from the outside. Parking was terrible in Boston, and I had to bribe a valet to let me double park, and he gave me a deadline to get back, so I didn't have time to go exploring the subways. So I don't know how much the Boston subway system looks like the in-game model. I can tell you that the DC system looks an awful lot like the in-game model in Fallout 3.
Malone's crew was the best decision we've ever made. Look at this place.
I still say Malone's weak. We caught that detective snooping around, and what does he do? Locks him up. Like he ain't got the balls to just kill him.
Well, don't let his new girl hear that. She'll start swinging that bat of hers at your face until there ain't no face left.
Well, she just sounds like a keeper, doesn't she? Anyways, the triggermen are wearing fedoras and suits. It's not exactly body armor like Mary is wearing, and that means that they go down pretty easy. And because we have all of our gear shadowed and muffled, it's not hard for us to sneak around and not get caught. So this section is probably not going to be terribly exciting. I will keep recording, but I probably am going to just edit most of this out until we get down to Nick Valentine.
Give Skinny Malone more
We can
time to
overhear a
think about how
conversation
he's gonna
between
bump
these
you
two
off.
and let Dino run off, or we can just pop him in the head. I think that we'll just pop him in the head. Should mean that this area is mostly clear. Will allow us to come and say hello to Nick.
But we got 3 minutes before they realize muscles were brain.
Fortunately, this is only a novice terminal, and we don't have to go run back and get Ada to hack this for us or pick up a password from somebody. Let's see here. Alright, got lucky on the second one, and oops. No, I did not want to take numbers. I wanted to override the door control. Well, hello there, you crazy synth. Alright, are you talking to us or not talking to us?
Gotta love the irony of the
What's going
reverse
on?
jam
Here we go.
stress scenario. Question is, why did our heroine risk life and limb for an old private eye?
My baby's
I'm
missing.
trying to find my missing son.
His name's Sean.
Heard you could help.
He was kidnapped, but I don't know who took him or where they went.
Missing kid, huh? Well, you came to the right man, if not the right place. I've been cooped up in here for weeks. Turns out the runaway daughter I came here
Could
to
be a lot
find
more than
wasn't
weeks,
kidnapped.
Nick.
She's Skinny Malone's new flame. And she's got a mean streak. Anyway, you got troubles, and I'm glad to help. But now ain't the time. Let's blow this joint. Then we'll talk.
Alright, well, blow this joint we shall. Too bad we can't take the speech bobblehead. Is there anything on the Overseer's terminal that we want to take a look at? Don't think so. So, we are going to get some food and drink into us, and then we're going to follow Nick. Well, it turns out that taking out Triggermen at level 64 is not so hard. Just really nothing of interest happened on the way through the vault other than meeting Nick himself. But on the other side of this door, we have an encounter with Skinny Malone. I've got my speech gear on. Let's see what this is all about.
Any idea how much this is gonna set me back?
I wouldn't be here if it weren't for your two-timing dame, Skinny. You ought to tell her to write home more often.
Oh, poor little Valentine. Ashamed you got beat up by a girl? I'll just run back home to Daddy, shall I?
Should've left it alone, Nikki. This ain't the old neighborhood. In this vault, I'm king of the castle, you hear me? And I ain't letting some private dick shut us down now that I finally got a good thing going.
I told you we should have just killed him! But then you had to get all sentimental. All that stupid crap about the old times.
Darla, I'm handling this. Skinny Malone's always got things under control.
Oh yeah? Then what's this lady doing here, huh? Valentine must have brought her here to rub us all out.
I wish the Boston accents were stronger. I have forgotten that I had progressed to the point that Mama Murphy gave us the out for this quest, and yet I also remember that Mary thinks that Mama Murphy is crazy. So she's not going to make the connection here, and we're going to
Skinny's
try
no good for you, Darla. You
another
put
way.
him, I just might let you go.
Wow. You're a bad girl, ain't ya? Sorry.
Oh, Mary's so
This is
bad.
the end for
Not
us.
really, though.
And for you.
You double-crossing Maul. Teach me to fall for a great set of legs.
And there we go, straight into combat. So let's put some armor on rather than stand around in an evening dress. And let's get some healing going because I have already taken a couple of hits here. So let's get try a stim pack and some water because the stim pack is going to make us thirsty. Okay. Now that we have just a little bit of cover here. A little bit of cover, good lord. I talked about how easy it was taking out Triggermen, and it looks very much like I could die here. Where is somebody behind me? Good lord, they're everywhere. Okay, there's a couple more on the other side over there. Let's see about take care of him, and I think that's it. And I am curious about, will she talk to us? Darla, is there anything else you want to say, or?
Who needs that big galoot anyway? I'm going home to my parents.
Well, you're just gonna starve her. Okay. Well, too bad. I felt like there should be some kind of final dialogue or resolution there. And I think that we're all done here. I doubt there's anybody else around hiding. So let's go ahead and make our way to the exit, which Nick is going to show us where that is located. Nick, I bet there's a ladder up to the surface around here somewhere. And what do you know? So he's going to make his way outside, and so are we. And if I get the opportunity, now that I think about it, I'll put on my smarty pants and my smarty hat, because I believe this is the end of the quest. Not hazmat suit, lab coat. And, yes.
Never thought anything so naturally ominous could end up looking so inviting. Thanks for getting me out. How did you know where to find me, anyway? Not many people knew where I went.
But your assistant did.
Your secretary, Ellie. She sent me.
She did? I should give her a raise. Now, you mentioned something about your son, Sean, how he went missing.
I want you to come to my office in Diamond City. Give me all the details. Besides, I think you've earned a chance to sit down and clear your head.
I will meet you there.
See you in Diamond City.
Alright, we've got to level up, so let's go ahead and take care of that. We are on the luck tree, and we have not quite gotten far enough to get better criticals, but next level we'll be able to get our first rank of better criticals. looking forward to that. In the meantime, we have a short run through Boston, and I am fairly sure that we are not going to run into any trouble. The area around Diamond City is fairly well empty of enemies. And let's double check our charisma. Yes, that's where it's supposed to be. So after you, Mr. Valentine. Actually, we're just outside the office at Nick's detective agency, and I'm willing to bet that as soon as I step through the door, some dialogue is going to start.
Here?
Nick? Oh God, it's really you.
Well, it's hard to mistake this mug for anyone else.
You keep laughing at Death. Someday, Death's gonna laugh back.
Not as long as I got a few friends to back me up.
You saved Nick, this agency, and my job. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Happy to do it.
Yeah? Go diving into scary pre-war ruins all the time then, do you? Here.
Actually, yes.
I know an amount wasn't on the table when you went out the... No. If you're looking for work and don't mind putting on the detective hat, Nick sure could use a new partner.
Whoa. One case at a time, Ellie. Our new friend needs our help first. All right, let's get down to business. Take a seat. Make yourself comfortable.
Let's take a look at that fedora and trench coat that we just got. Are these anything good? Perception 1, no other attributes. And perception 2, nice enough, but yeah, it takes place of all of our armor. So we're going to sell those at the first opportunity.
When you're trying to find someone who's gone missing, the devil is in the details. Tell me everything you can, no matter how painful it might be.
Well,
We're looking for my baby.
lost my baby.
He's less than a year old. Why would anyone do
Is he really less than a year old after all this
Why
time?
your family, particularly? Why an infant? He would be taking on all of his care, and he needs a lot of it. What else can you tell me?
There was
Well,
a man
let's tell him
and a
about
woman.
Who took him?
They didn't say much, but I remember they called me the backup.
So we're talking a small team. Professionals. Kind that know to keep their lips tight when they're on the job. Not sure what the backup means, though. That confirms it. This isn't a random kidnapping. Whoever took your kid had an agenda. A lot of groups in the Commonwealth that take people. Raiders, super mutants, the Gunners, and of course there's the Institute.
Well, I'm guessing it's probably not any of those groups other than the Institute. Still, what would super mutants?
What are they?
Big, green, muscles on muscles. In other words, hard to miss. I think we can safely rule them out.
Yeah, they definitely weren't super mutants. Maybe they
Who
were
are the
gunners.
Gunners?
High-end mercenaries. No job too brutal. They're in the running as likely suspects. They wouldn't be the ones pulling the strings.
I know about those
Raiders
raider
might have done
assholes.
this.
I honestly doubt it. They can barely organize themselves, let alone pull off something this complicated.
Well, that
So
certainly
you
just
think
leaves the
this
Institute then.
is responsible?
Well, they're the boogeymen of the Commonwealth. Something goes wrong, everyone blames them. Easy to see why. Those early model synths of theirs strip whole towns for parts, killing everything in their way. Then you got the newer models, good as human, infiltrate cities and pull strings from the shadows. Worst of all, no one knows why they do it, what their plan is, where they are. Not even me. I'm a synth myself. Discarded prototype anyway.
Well, that means you're one of them. I'm not sure I can trust
Lie
you.
to me, Nick. You're one of them. They made you.
Yeah, I've heard it all before. You're a freak. Got something to hide. Blah, blah, blah. The truth is, people smart enough to build something like me are smart enough to cover their tracks. Arrogant enough to throw their unwanted trash into the Commonwealth and fend for itself.
It's actually kind of sad. So does that
don't
mean
know
you don't know
anything
anything?
Really?
Some kind of security setting strips or blocks out those memories. And it's not just me. Any synth that gets trashed, left behind, or escapes the Institute has the same problem. Under some kind of failsafe.
You're a
So what did you mean about being a
As
prototype?
far as I know. Never seen any other synth like myself. There's the older ones that are dumb as rocks and all metal, and there's the newer ones that are almost human. I'm somewhere in between.
In between, indeed, although... Dick, we
Either
gotta
way,
do something about
I
fixing
need
up
to
your
find
skin.
Sean.
Right. Speculation is getting us off track. Let's focus on what you saw. What did these kidnappers look like?
They
The
were in
woman was
hazmat
dressed
suits.
in, I think it was a kind of hazard suit. The man had some sort of metal brace on his arm.
Maybe some kind of improvised armor? A lot of hired guns do that to look tough. The hazard suit is interesting. Not many mercs can afford something that fancy. What else do you remember about it?
The
Well, he
man
carried a
who
gun, shot my good-for-nothing husband
killed
with
my
it.
husband. He had a handgun. I didn't get a clear look at it, but that sound.
Could have been a large caliber revolver. Huh. I'm starting to get a clearer picture of the kind of man our perp is. Anything more you can tell me?
I'll never forget that voice. Low and rough. Like sandpaper. Across your face.
Not much to go on. But a tough and commanding voice can get someone pretty far in the violence business. What else?
He
One
was
of them came
bald
right
and he
up
had
to
a scar.
Bald head. Scar across his left eye.
Wait. Couldn't be. You didn't hear the name Kellogg at all, did you?
I didn't hear any names.
No. They never said their names.
Way too big of a coincidence. Ellie, what notes do we have about the Kellogg case?
The description matches. Bald head, scar, reputation for dangerous mercenary work, but no one knows who his employer is.
He bought a house here in town, right? He had a kid with him, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. The house in the abandoned West Stands. The boy with him was around 10 years
10
old.
years old. Well, couldn't be Sean then.
There's no way that could be Sean.
Yeah. Big difference between an infant and a 10-year-old, but that doesn't mean we're on the wrong track. He could have a son of his own. Or maybe he's turned kidnapping into a bad habit. In any event, they both vanished a while back. No trace. Let's you and I take a walk over to Kellogg's last known address. See if we can snoop out where he went.
Security doesn't really go to that part of town. You two should still be careful.
I always am.
Whoops, sorry, nicked over your fan, Nick. So let's go take a peek at Kellogg's house.
Leading a small team to kidnap a baby and leaving one of the parents alive for later? Not many mercs in the Commonwealth can pull that off.
Maybe not. But as far as leaving me alive, if I'm the backup, it probably wouldn't make sense to kill me, would it?
Here we are. Keep an eye out, will you? If I can get this open.
Alright, Nick, consider an eye kept out.
It's one heck of a lock. Something to hide, Kellogg? Why don't you give it a try?
No point in me trying it, man. I can't unlock anything at all,
Don't
hardly.
think I can pick this.
Yep.
Hey,
So now
Valentine.
what?
We need to find the key. We can't get through that door. See that platform in the distance? Near the city entrance?
Yes?
That's the elevator to the mayor's office. Why don't you go ask around there?
Alright, I'm on it.
Why doesn't the mayor come
Piper, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be back at Starlight
If I
Drive-In.
said I was with the Institute, he'd come running.
Do you ever think maybe you could get a man's attention easier if you use softer words, honey? Maybe shout a little less?
Oh, that reminds me of this article I'm writing about the mayor's affair with a certain air-headed blonde. Oh, look who it is. What brings
Piper, that is downright slander and speculative, and you are just the worst
What are
reporter.
you doing here, Piper?
Trying to find out why the mayor happens to be meeting with the same suspicious-looking courier every other week. Not from any settlement I've ever heard of. And not an errand boy from the Institute, maybe. After this article comes out, that's what everyone's gonna be asking.
If you are done crowding the reception area, Miss Piper, the mayor needs to make time for more responsible citizens.
I was just leaving anyway.
The lady has a point, Piper. Like, you can't just make stuff up.
The mayor's receiving visitors as long as they aren't members of the press. Did you need help?
Yeah, I need to get
I
to
need
Kellogg's
to talk to
house.
someone about Kellogg's old house in the West Stands.
Mr. Kellogg's residence? He left town a while ago. We foreclosed on the property and locked it up. If there was something
means you have a
belonging to
key.
the man that you have a claim on, you could ask the mayor to hear you out. No guarantees.
Come
Why
on.
don't you
And
help
if
me
I
out?
could, why should I?
I'm trying to find my baby.
All I want to do is find my baby. The man who owned that house kidnapped him.
You do seem like a sweetheart. All right. I'm just going to leave this key on my desk and forget I put it there. Your baby's lucky he has a mother like you. I hope you find him.
Wait, do I have to... No, that doesn't work at all.
Geneva.
Geneva, I can't pick that up.
Key for me. Now, if you're actually interested in buying a house, we have a permit available.
Shoot.
I don't need anything.
Catch you later, then.
Well... Oh, doggone it. Curie, why don't you see about getting that key?
Over here.
At once. I cannot get there.
Yes, you can. Come right here.
Move here.
Yes.
And
no way to get there.
Here.
pick up that key.
attend to this. I can't reach that.
Well, I
Head
think we
over
might be
there.
SOL.
Make this a priority.
I have a fairly recent save on my way from the vault over here. I did just pop into Hangman's Alley and drop a save, so I am gonna I'm gonna load that save, and we're gonna try that conversation again, see if we can go at it a different way. I will join you once we get back to this point again. Well, I have dropped a save over at the Dugout Inn, and that means that
Cat got
I can
you
retry this conversation a multiple different times, multiple different ways without too much fuss. So last time we tried the medium speech check.
trust
Let's try the hard
It's
speech
important.
check.
You have my word.
Well, you do have an honest face, and it's not like there's anything important in an abandoned house. I can't believe I'm doing this, but what the hell? Here you go, honey. Now, don't do anything in that place I wouldn't do.
And we have the same problem. She has placed the key on the desk. Let's go back and try the bribe option and see if maybe she will hand the key directly to us. I'm betting this isn't going to work any better than the other options.
Maybe
but
we can.
Let's
reach
try
an
bribing
agreement.
her.
I just happen to have a pile of caps here.
A gift? For me? Oh, how generous. Oh, there I go again, leaving a key out on my desk and forgetting to put it back.
Well, poopsie doodle. Let's try again, and this time let's try talking to the mayor. So let's try talking to the mayor this time.
I'll talk to the mayor.
And see if
He
we
set
can
aside time
get
to talk to
anything
petitioners all day. Best of
different
luck.
from him other than having him leave the key out for us. See if we can get him to actually hand the key to us. Hello, Mayor McDonough.
I remember you, our new arrival. I wish I was in your shoes, getting to see our glorious city for the first time. How can I help you?
I need to get into
The man
Kellogg's
named
house.
Kellogg used to live in the city. I need to search his house.
I see. Well, whatever reasons you have, I take my citizens' privacy very seriously. Even after they've left. I can't allow you to invade someone else's home. That's all there is to it.
I'm sure you do, but
Please,
he's his
Mayor
kidnapper.
This man Kellogg kidnapped my baby. I need to find him.
Oh, of course. I will do everything in my power to help you overcome this horrible personal tragedy. I remember Mr. Kellogg. Didn't like him myself. Paranoid. Never talked to anyone. I doubt you'll find him. But I insist you take the key to his old house. It's been abandoned, though. I'm afraid this whole thing might be fruitless.
I'll take my chances. I'm glad that the key actually ended up in my inventory, though, instead of having to loot it. Phew. I was getting nervous there. I wasn't sure if Kate would be able to unlock that lock for me, and if Kate couldn't do it, the only other option was going to be having to go out and grind some levels so that I could get the lock-picking perk. Good Lord, I did not want to spend the time to do that. So thankfully we have key in hand, and we can go back to Kellogg's house. Alright, Nick, talk the mayor into giving me the key. So let's go inside and do some investigating.
Kellogg must have left something.
But not looting, only investigating. Hello, mysterious button.
Well, that's one way to hide a room.
And
All of them are...
let's see. Trying to remember what it is in here that we need to activate or do. It's been a while since I've actually played the quest in Fallout 4. San Francisco Sunlights. So before we proceed, welcome to Universe B. Back in Universe A, I am about to discover that the only way to progress that quest is to pick up the San Francisco Sunlight cigars in Kellogg's secret room. However, that does break the rules of the run, and I'm trying to put that off as long as humanly possible. So, I have loaded an alternate save, and I went ahead and got Kellogg's house unlocked, revealed the secret room, and then came over here to Fort Hagen. And I tried that because I know that you don't have to necessarily follow Dogmeat to get here. Basically, I am trying to determine exactly what is the trigger that opens the elevator to the basement. Because you can get into Fort Hagen pretty much at any time, but only after a certain trigger is activated will the elevator to the basement become functional. And it would appear that picking up the San Francisco Sunlight in Kellogg's house is the only way to get this basement elevator open, which means that, unfortunately, yes, I am going to have to break the rules. I'm very disappointed about that. Nothing else I can do, though. So, worth the experiment, worth trying just to put off breaking the rules a little bit further, but here we are. So, I will now return you to Universe A. Well,
Hey,
Curie,
Gwinnett
you
Stout
take
beer,
those?
44 caliber bullets,
Shoot.
cigars, San Francisco sunlights.
Well, at least we can drop them again. Or maybe we can't. Let's try getting rid of them. Nope.
Interesting
last
brand.
time.
Won't lead us anywhere on its own.
We'll never
There's
find
nothing here, man.
Drop the doom and gloom act. We can work through this. What about dog meat? Commonwealth mutt like him can track a scent for miles. Why don't you go fetch him and let him have a whiff? See if he picks up the trail. Before you head out, and I know this is personal business, you have to face Kellogg on your own. Just say so. Besides,
Oh no, Nick, I'll be glad to have you along.
can't all go sniffing through the Commonwealth after one man.
In fact, I know that we're probably not going to be able to get Nick's companion perk. That involves picking up a bunch of holotapes, but we're at least gonna try and see if maybe Nick will pick those holotapes up himself. So,
I want you with
come
me,
on
Alice.
with me, Nick.
All right.
Curie, you can go hang out at Hangman's Alley. And I actually, on my way here this time,
Your show from here on out, okay?
did a little bit of shopping. And so Curie is holding a bunch of stuff for me. Curie, where'd you go? Before you run off. Curie may have already run off. Shoot. Well, we can catch up with her at Hangman's Alley. I actually forgot that you don't have to go get dog meat. He just appears magically right outside the house, and boy, isn't that convenient. Wasn't really minding another trek across the Commonwealth. I've done it so many times on this playthrough, but
Dog meat.
I'm also glad
Boy.
that dog meat's somehow psychic and is able to tell me, or to tell when I need him. So, dog meat, can you get Kellogg?
boy. Take me to that son of a bitch.
So we are going to follow dog meat for a long ways, but I am going to take a little detour to Hangman's Alley to, as I said, pick up the big boy from Curie. Well, we followed dog meat a little ways, but we've run into a problem. We are already being asked to cheat again because there is another cigar here, and dog meat clearly recognizes it. I clearly recognize it. There's really no reason why I should pick it up, and yet dog meat will not proceed unless I do so. Nick, on the other hand, has completely refused to pick that up. He just says, I don't do that. So we're going to use our knowledge as the player to skip ahead a little bit, because I happen to know that at this point the elevator in Fort Hagen should be unlocked. You don't have to actually follow dog meat across the Commonwealth. And so, yeah, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to roughly take the same path that dog meat would, mainly just looking to get some experience points and grind up my adrenaline before we get into the fort. But yes, we are off on our own. And say goodbye, dog meat. I hope this doesn't cause you to glitch out and make you unavailable as a companion. See you again once we get to Fort Hagen. Still plenty of enemies left around here, but I'm not really all that interested in making sure that I clean out every single one. Instead, here's the elevator that was not available to us until after we took the San Francisco sunlight. So there's one place in the game where there is simply no alternative but to loot to move forward, and that is you cannot get to the basement of Fort Hagen unless you take the San Francisco sunlights from Kellogg's secret room. Very dramatic kill shot, and I think I actually killed a turret and a synth in one shot there. That's cool. I am thinking that, again, this is not going to be a huge challenge to get forward until we get to Kellogg, and at that point, yes, I will come back to you. And just to prove that I'm doing it, yep, I disarmed that trap, and I am dropping the pieces that I got from it. Alright, talk to you again when we see Kellogg. Well, we have made it to Kellogg, and handy enough, there is a bed right there. Nick, what are you doing? You are not supposed to be looting. You are allowed to have the big boy, 3 mini nukes, and the 2 packs of cigarettes that you showed up with, which I find interesting. I don't remember if I've ever actually seen Nick smoking, but the idea of a machine that wants to smoke strikes me as just doggone strange. I mean, does he get addicted to nicotine? I don't know. Before we walk in here, I am going to pop a stealth boy because actually let's try and put that off as long as we can, because I think it will help. He's got a couple of minions here, so and we're gonna be surrounded, so let's go ahead and pop this stealth boy. I am not bothering with my speech gear because I know darn well that this is going to end in a fight. Give me my son.
Right to it then, huh? Okay. Fine. Your son, Sean. Great kid.
And what do you want to bet the stealth boy wears off when the conversation's over? But we're gonna try.
You figured that out by now. But if you're hoping for a happy reunion...
Speaking of a little older, I hadn't figured it out.
The boy's not here.
On my first playthrough, at least.
Fuck you, Kellogg.
Let him go. Your time's done.
Yeah, doggone it, stealth boy wore off.
In the Institute.
Here.
Well, I'm gonna find
Institute.
him.
I'll find my son no matter where he is.
That's the spirit. You know, you surprise me, I have to admit. I find myself actually kind of liking you. You might have actually been a good mother. And I admire your dedication. Even if it is ultimately useless. But I think we've been talking long enough. We both know how this has to end. So, you ready?
Am I ready? Are you?
I'm ready. Question is, right?
Okay, I'm pulling the trigger and like that was irritating. The amount of time that I could have or should have been shooting Kellogg in the face, and instead, yeah, I was pulling the trigger and nothing happened. So, yeah, even as well armed and armored as we are, this has been a rocky start. Let's get some healing going, and let's see what else can we get here that's going to heal us some. Let's do some vegetable soup and maybe a noodle cup. And that actually still won't take us to full health, so let's try a melon and some new fruit. Oh, and while we're at it, let's go ahead and take our next perk, which is going to be the first rank of better criticals. No time like the present for that, because I do have a critical in hand and I'd like to shoot Kellogg in the face with it. But he has a stealth blade. Oh, I forgot he uses a stealth blade. Where are you, you bastard? Invisible enemies. Serious problem for VATS users. So...
You're not as soft as I thought.
Sooner or later, that stealth boy is going to have to wear off. I'm irritated that I'm just having to shoot in the general direction. I'm not even really aiming. I'm just shooting through the doorway and hoping. So, okay, well, invisible or not, we finally got him.
Bastard won't be hurting
Bastard.
anyone else.
Nick,
Take a look around.
you did it again. You're not supposed to have a gun like that.
See what I can do.
So, give me that. Quit picking up guns. Use your stupid little pipe pistol. Now this is where I expected to have to finally break the rules and loot Kellogg's corpse okay, Kellogg's corpse also appears to be invisible. That could have turned out to be a problem, an invisible corpse. So first thing we need is to get into this computer and not pick up that copy of Robco Fun, and it requires a key. So, yep, even if we just jump right out of here and go straight to the next stage, which is the memory den, there is no way forward past that I can find that doesn't include Kellogg's cybernetic brain augmenter.
Hey.
So, Nick, would you be willing to loot Kellogg's corpse for me?
See if he had anything worth
There it
taking.
is, the invisible corpse. You seemed eager enough to loot the stuff you weren't supposed to.
Grab anything useful.
Done and done.
Right.
Check
Okay,
it out.
there he goes.
See if there's anything there.
Count on it.
Take anything good.
Good plan.
Grab that.
Can do.
Get that.
Done and done.
Alright. Have we got it all? No. It's the 2 quest items, and
Pick that up.
I expect that Nick is going to refuse to pick those up.
Take that.
Good plan.
Yep. Well, doggone it, Nick.
Heads up.
There's something you
What
need.
use are you if you're not going to loot things for me? In the meantime, we have all these things that we're going to have to get rid of here, so you are... No, I do not want to take all. So, you are only allowed to have the big boy, which means that I need to throw away Kellogg's pistol, that rifle, and frag grenade. And
Heads up.
what else did you pick up, you son of a gun? Okay, Kellogg's outfit, a stealth boy, and a stim pack. Oops. Well, I'm sure we can figure this out.
Look alive.
Hey, come back here. I need to hand you big boy.
Looking for something?
Yes. Looking to get rid of something anyways. So, big boy and 3 mini nukes and 2 packs of cigarettes. Meanwhile, we could drop ammo that we weren't supposed to have. There's no junk. I don't think that there's these two cybernetic components. We have no business picking those up. And Kellogg's outfit can go. And that should be all of it. Alright, I am going to sit and have a think about how to proceed here. So I welcome you once again to Universe B. There are two items on Kellogg's body. The one is the cybernetic brain augmenter, which in this universe I have looted. The other is Kellogg's password. Now the brain augmenter is what we have to bring to Dr. Amari along with Nick Valentine to access Kellogg's memories. However, the password, I thought maybe that is not necessary. Now, the password does let you take the elevator shortcut out of the room where you confront Kellogg, and that's where you see the dramatic entry of the Brotherhood of Steel. But there is an open door that you can get out of in Fort Hagen without taking that password. So I wanted to at least try coming over here to the memory den and see if maybe we can advance the game with only taking one of those items. And wouldn't it be interesting if the Brotherhood never actually arrived? Although, I will say that chatter around Good Neighbor is talking a lot about the Brotherhood of Steel. People saying things like, I don't believe that they come in peace, or that flying ship was amazing. So, did they arrive or did they not arrive?
So she's not the fun.
Oh, shoot. Well, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. This is a big enough set of circumstances in the game that I suppose the programmers wanted to make sure that people didn't get around it. So yeah, we are going to have to loot the password and have the Brotherhood arrive, which is disappointing, but I guess I'm not super surprised. Worth the experiment. Anyways, I will go ahead and return you to Universe A. Actually, I changed my mind. We're going to stay in Universe B just for a few more minutes, because I wanted to come over to the airport and try and just see if maybe the Brotherhood had actually arrived. After all, Ray and Good Neighbor was talking about them, and what I have discovered is that the game is in this weird kind of half state where we have a Paladin commander outside, and they're building stuff around here. There's a almighty big gantry for something, right? We know that's eventually going to be Liberty Prime. There's another of other NPCs kind of scattered about, like this scribe initiate. No named characters and no airship. Weird. Even stranger, I want to run upstairs here because you can see it. Oops, it's this way. You can see it a little bit clearer even from the landing pad, but there are a couple of mysterious objects floating in the sky there. I will try to turn up the brightness on this video a little bit so maybe you can see them, but those are doors. Those are airship doors that are just floating in the sky up there with no airship, right? Very strange, but ultimately inconsequential. We can't fly up to them. I don't have any way to get around this. We are still going to have to loot Kellogg's password. So once again, this time I mean it, we'll return you to Universe A. And now that I've loaded my prior save back in Fort Hagen, the glitch with Kellogg's body being invisible has been fixed. Which is good. It means that I can actually locate these things that I have to loot. I'm not really thrilled about this, but this was something I knew was going to happen. It was something that I was sure sooner or later would be required in order to progress the main game. And here we are. So we have broken the rules 3 times in one episode. Not great. We're on episode 31. We broke the rules 3 times this episode. Meanwhile, we managed to go 30 episodes, only breaking them twice. Once was absolutely required. Once was something that I thought better of, but I couldn't get back to an earlier save. So, I'd say that's a pretty good track record so far. I am curious how the rest of the game is going to go. We're already locked out of the railroad, and I believe we're probably locked out of the Minutemen because I cannot complete old guns because I can't pick up the blueprints for them. Where is that going to leave us with the Brotherhood of Steel? After all, Paladin Dance has been in the basement of ArcJet Systems for probably about 8 or 9 months now. I imagine he is quite annoyed with me. We'll have to see how that plays out, and that will have to be next episode. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to hit the like button. If you're looking forward to that next episode to find out what happened to Paladin Dance after we abandoned him in ArcJet at the very beginning of the game, you will need to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I release that next episode. And if you didn't like, please tell me why in a comment so that I can do better for you next time. A dislike without context means I don't know what it is that I should be fixing for you to make better content. Until next time, my name is Nacho Bidness, and I'm saying it's a great big wasteland out there. Let's go have fun in it.